We decided to ask ChatGPT if GW was good or bad for the wargaming hobby, and this is what it said. Games Workshop, the giant of wargaming industry, has long been a topic of heated debate amongst hobbyists. On one hand, the company's iconic Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 universes have captured imaginations of millions of players worldwide, fostering a vibrant and passionate community. On the other hand, Games Workshop business practices, pricing policies and exclusive focus on its own intellectual properties have drawn criticism from some quarters. So, is Games Workshop ultimately a force for good or bad in the wargaming hobby? And that's what we tend to find out. We asked ChatGPT this question, and here's what it said. So the case for its positive impact first. Games Workshop's relentless commitment to innovation and creativity has helped push the boundaries of wargaming hobby. Through its constant stream of new releases, rules, updates and expansions, Games Workshop keeps the hobby fresh and exciting, inspiring players to explore new ideas and strategies. Games Workshop's beginner-friendly products, simplified rule sets and global network of Warhammer stores makes it very easy for newcomers to dive into the hobby and connect with fellow enthusiasts. The company's emphasis on community building creates a welcoming and inclusive environment for players of all backgrounds and skill levels. Quality and craftsmanship. Games Workshop's products are renowned for their exceptional quality and attention to detail, setting a high standard for the wargaming industry, from meticulously sculpted miniatures to beautifully illustrated rulebooks. Games Workshop's commitment to quality ensures that players receive a premium gaming experience. Now, the look at the case against Games Workshop, the negative impact. And obviously, first one up, pricing and accessibility. Games Workshop products are often criticised for their high prices, making them inaccessible to some players, particularly those on a tight budget. Additionally, the company's reliance on its own proprietary systems and miniature ranges can limit player choice and customization options. There are some critics that argue that Games Workshop's dominance of the wargaming market stifles competition and innovation, making it difficult for smaller companies and independent creators to thrive. The company's aggressive legal tactics to protect its own intellectual property have also drawn criticism from some quarters. Games Workshop focus on its own intellectual properties and its strict adherence to canon law can be seen as exclusionary, alienating players who prefer a more open-ended homebrewed setting. Additionally, the company's emphasis on tournament play and competitive gaming can deter casual players who prefer a more relaxed and narrative-driven approach to wargaming. So, ChatGPT's conclusion is ultimately the question of whether Games Workshop is a good or bad for the wargaming hobby is a complex and subjective one. While the company has undoubtedly made significant contributions to the growth and popularity of the hobby, it also faces criticism for its pricing policies, business practices and exclusivity. As with any debate, the answer likely lies somewhere in between, and ultimately comes down to individual perspectives and experiences within the diverse and multifaceted wargaming community. In conclusion, the debate over Games Workshop's impact on the wargaming hobby is ongoing, reflecting the complex interplay of innovation, accessibility, quality and exclusivity within the hobby landscape. Now, I think it's fair to say that The GW has made some good aspects and made some poor ones over the years, just like any company would of that size. Is GW bad for the hobby? I don't think so. Let's be honest, most of us under a certain age, basically anyone that's Generation X and younger, most of us would have made our start in wargaming hobby via Games Workshop. I certainly did. I was in my first introduction to proper wargaming was Games Workshop. It was Warhammer, and it was the white box when it first came out. And eventually I also started playing historicals and various other games. But my first real introduction to wargaming was through Games Workshop. And I think that's a lot of people have had their first experience in wargaming is through Games Workshop, because it's got that high street presence, and so that's for a lot of people. That's their first port of call. Are the games bad? I don't think so. Not really. I mean, it's perspective. Some people like them, some people don't. I don't play much 40k or Age of Sigmar anymore, but I do like Lord of the Rings that GW produced, and I think it's one of the best rule sets they've ever produced. Have they made questionable decisions over the years? Probably. Have there been ones I've agreed with? Probably not all the time. But they're a company, they're a business. They make decisions that some people will like, some people won't. Are they bad for the hobby? I don't think so. I think where we are in the hobby today, we wouldn't be without Games Workshop. And the reason I say that is because a lot of companies have sprung up in the last, say, 20 to 30 years. A lot of those people have come through Games Workshop. Mantic was started up by former GW staff. Warlord started up by former GW staff. And those are just two of the companies that have sprung up in the last, say, 20, 30 years. And the guys behind those companies came via working within Games Workshop. And Games Workshop over the years have produced a lot of people that have worked for them and come out of the company and set up other companies. And we're probably one of the reasons why we're in what we would call a golden age for gaming is because of Games Workshop. They grew to so big, and so many staff have come in and out of that company and started newer games companies, that we're in a position now as hobbyists where the choice of games is pretty immense. Games Workshop is one of those factors for that, because of the amount of staff that have over the years have worked for them and left and gone on to set up their own companies. Would they have set up their own companies without working for Games Workshop? Possibly not. But they gained, by working for Games Workshop, a valuable sort of experience of what the industry is and how it works, and they've taken that into their own companies and been very successful. So I don't think Games Workshops have been bad for the hobby. I think it's been quite good over the years. We may not agree with everything Games Workshop does, but overall I personally think they've been good for the hobby and they've been good for the industry. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say on this topic. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.